Okay, so step one, when you're debugging electrical like this, the best thing to do is start at the beginning of the circuit and work your way down. And at each stage, you know if you have connectivity, if you have power, if you have voltage, that's good. And then you can move on to the next stage and see where things are breaking. If you've got a really complicated circuit and you're not sure where, you can sometimes start in the middle and then kind of binary search your way back. So in the middle, if it's working, then you can go further into the circuit and see where it's not working. If you start in the middle and it's not working, you know it's somewhere between the beginning and there. So then you go halfway between the beginning and the middle, try that. If it's working, you know the problem is between a quarter and halfway. If it's not working, you know it's between the beginning and where you started. So by using that method, you can quickly narrow down where a problem is. This circuit is not that complicated, so we're not going to do that. Again, my first suspicion is the switch. So I pull that out. I should have continuity between the input and the thing. So let's see, where does this come from? Where does this come from? What a pain in the ass. What a pain in the ass. Am I gonna get this to work? I don't even know. I don't even know. Okay, another thing we can do, which might be easier. So I can take the output of my switch, just unplug the wire from my relay. Because instead of having to touch it up there, I know the end of this wire is the same connection point as the switch. So this is the wire that's coming off of my thing. So I would expect to see, turn this back on. Okay, so all the way out is on. There's two stops. This is off. First stop is fog lights or panel lights. That's not working right now. It's not plugged in. Second stop is headlights. So right now my switch should be connected. So I should be able to measure 12 volts between this wire and ground. So if I start here with ground, actually it's easier to start here with my live thing. And I have 12 volts. Okay, so we know the switch is working. So then, the next piece is the relay. Suspect the relay. Did I wire the relay correctly? Did I wire the relay correctly? Now, before I look at that, I want to see if I have. Let's turn this off. So we have no volts. I want to check the fuse going into the power section of the relay, because I doubt the relay is broken. It doesn't usually happen. It does. I recently fixed a starter relay on a friend's motorcycle. Let's see. Turn this back on and see if I have 12 volts going to my fuse box. tell you what, let me bring you down here so we can get a better view. Okay, so here we are, looking at the fuse box. There's a lot of wires in the way, but here's where power comes in, and it feeds out these fuses to the connectors on the side. So I have ground off the screen, and if I check my input, 12 volts, and then if I look at the output that's going to the relay, 10.8 volts. Interesting. Seems like a big voltage drop. 0.2. These other ones are not even plugged in. 10.8 volts. Okay. Well, we know that that's working. Nothing lit up. Why did that thing light up? Could it be that I blew this fuse? I sure did. Okay, let's have a look here. So here's my fuse, and it's definitely blown. So this could mean a couple of things. Either I have a short somewhere, or I picked too low a rating for this. I just guessed at 10. Maybe it draws more. It would surprise me if it drew more. The next step is to rule out a short. So this is why we have fuses, because these things cost like 30 cents each. And I would rather this thing flip if there's a problem, then burn out one of my lights that I paid more money for and spent all the time installing. Okay, so let's keep hunting. All right, so bad news. I've traced the short to ground to this headlight itself. This is the passenger side headlight, which I've taken off the truck, which wasn't too bad, but the bad news is that either this unit is faulty, it's got some busted up wiring in it somewhere, which means I'll have to order a new one. In fact, I'll probably have to order 2 new ones because this matches the driver's side headlight, and the company that I got these from, it's this company in China, changes the models every so often. I found this out the hard way. So if you buy what you think is the same model a few months later, it could look different. It could look different. It could have a little slightly different pattern in the back of the light, which means it'll fit differently inside this housing. Obviously, it wasn't designed for this housing. So if that's the case, then I'm in trouble. In the best case scenario, I did something to a wire in here, which shorted it out to the case. If I take my multimeter, which I don't think I can fit in this view, one of the plugs is connected to this screw, which is basically ground. So what we're gonna do then is disassemble this thing, which is another pain in the ass. We'll get a closer look at that, and then see if we can figure out if there's a problem with the wiring or if it's internal to the light. So let's dive in. All right, so let's get a look at how this is put together. This dusty black piece is the housing. Came with the truck. There's a little rubber grommet here. This thing sits in a hole on the front of the truck, and then this rubber kind of softens the connection between the metals. Hole where the wires come out, obviously. Looks a little rough. I should probably have some kind of grommeter on this. And then this metal piece, this is like a rim that goes around the light fixture itself. This is also original. And it's held in, okay, this is connected in a couple different ways. This metal piece is screwed in, which holds the light fixture into like a little interior housing here. And the interior housing is also connected to this outer housing. And the reason for that is the interior housing needs to like rotate up and down so the light can angle up and down so you have your beam pointing in the right place. It's not shining in people's eyes when they're coming at you from the other direction. There's actually laws against that. We can see the springs in here. There's 1, 2. That's at sort of the side. The light sits like this with this halo on the top. So it fixes up here and then over on the side. And then the springs help hold it in place and give you some maneuverability. So getting this thing together was not fun, but we're gonna take it apart. So that's what we have to do. So we'll start by taking off the screws that hold in this, is that what we want to do? Yeah, let's start with that. It's also the easiest thing to do. So here's the original, the interior housing, held in by the springs. Light, so let's see if I can feed these cables through. So yeah, I had to cut out this hole, which used to be much smaller, to get this plug to fit through. And also do a couple things to this interior piece, which is the interior piece. Oh, okay. So this is the end of the interior piece. What you're seeing down here is the back of that. So this interior piece was also cut. I had to cut some of that out to fit these cooling fins on the light. So the question is, this cable looks okay. Doesn't look like it's shorted to anything. So let's double check our continuity here. something to lay this down so my workbench doesn't scratch the plastic cover. Okay, so what gives? I measured continuity before between one of these plugs and then one of these screws. These screws are replacements for, they were originally rivets to hold in the bracket that attaches to this. Let's see if we can zoom in here and see. I don't know if you can see the little bracket. That's, oh, here's a better look. That's the bracket. And you can see the screws kind of poking up down there at the bottom. That's these screws. So somehow this plug was connecting to this whole thing. Why would it do that? Why would it do that? I mean, this cable looks fine. But if it had been punctured and was somehow making contact with this rough edge, even that rough edge, it'd be enough to cause problems. This is like kind of a cheap metal. I don't even think it's aluminum. But at any rate, these rough edges are probably no bueno. So I could put it back together, double check. We still have these ground issues. But what I kind of want to do is find something to seal this up. I want to do. I'm gonna check my grommets, see what I've got. I don't think I have rubber that'll do it, so maybe just a couple layers of electrical tape will be enough to soften the edges. I'm gonna look around for that. I'll be right back. All right, we are back at the truck. This is our headlight that's been put together. It's the next day. Got the Southern California sunshine out. So we're gonna screw this back into the opening here. This is what it looks like when there's no headlight in it. You can see right through into the wheel. It's super exciting. This thing, you'll remember, has this little rubber grommet that fits between it, the unit, and the chassis here. What we're going to do is pull out this connector cable, connect it first. It's a pain in the ass to get underneath it. Try to reach in and connect it with the wheel on. So, let's see. Bent these a little bit. This might take a second. Let's just driver because it's faster. But I'm also being very gentle about how these go in. No nuts on the other side. The chassis little flange there has little threads with screws. They're not super strong, so I don't want to just jam this thing in. This will kind of get it started. I'll come back with my screwdriver, final tightening by hand. So we will worry about over tightening it, and then there's this nice little ring, chrome ring around it. Doesn't fit perfectly, but it fits pretty good. Screw? Not. That's why this one up here did not sit well. Better. Okay. Down, go to the driver's side, check for continuity, and then try again to turn them on. Okay, here we are. Headlights are wired in, batteries connected. I did another continuity test, no shorts. So let's see if they work. It's the middle of the day, so it won't look as spectacular, but we're gonna try it anyway because I don't want to wait any longer. A snap. Ha! The fuse blew again. So that means it didn't work. Okay, back to the drawing board.